How far would you go for love if it meant risking everything, including your sanity? Because today's tea is like literally cursed love in a box. All right, let's get into it. Hey, it's Emma. I'm feeling a little spooked, a little intrigued, and very much in my pop culture feelings today.
So, let's talk Obsession. It's a 2025 American supernatural horror film from writer-director-editor Cory Barker, and it premiered at TIFF's Midnight Madness. Quick primer, TIFF is the Toronto International Film Festival, and Midnight Madness is the late-night program for genre freaks like me. The setup is simple and savage. A cursed novelty toy called the One Wish Willow grants one wish per person when you break it. But the price tag is hellish. Our guy Bear, played by Michael Johnston, is into his coworker and childhood friend Nikki. He panics, lies about his feelings, breaks the willow, and wishes that Nikki loves him more than anyone else. And then everything goes off the rails. Okay, quick detour into my own circus, because, context. Years ago at a street market, I bought this so-called love potion. The vendor, a crystal goth queen with perfect eyeliner, told me one drop and your crush will notice you. Honey, I did it as a joke. I dabbed it on a coffee sleeve for this barista I thought was cute. Next day, he remembers my name. I panic. I go back. I tip $5 on a $2 tea like an absolute clown. Then he writes my name wrong again and stares at me like I'm the weirdo. Which, fair. I spiral, obviously. I start timing my visits to his shifts. He switches shifts. I convince myself the potion worked too well, which is deranged logic. And finally, I admit to myself, Emma, you were just projecting. My bestie sits me down and goes, intention, the words that raise my life are more than I and my feelings. And you want to know what happens in your life. Not witchy coffee sleeves. We laughed. I retired the potion, and shocker, I got over it. No body count, no police tape, just cringe. The moral, magic fixes are seductive because they dodge vulnerability, but they also dodge consent. And that is exactly the horror engine in Obsession. Back to the movie. The One Wish Willow literalizes desire. Bear's wish lands fast. Nikki, played by Indy Navarrete, flips from cool coworker to terrifyingly devoted. Love, compulsion. She watches him sleep. She moves in these creepy, wrong angles. She tapes over the entire front door with duct tape so home feels like a hostage scene. She weaponizes affection. And then the hotline for the Willow, yes, there is a customer service hotline, tells Bear the wish only ends when one of them dies. The chipper, how can we help tone while offering death as a policy is like peak consumer culture satire. Big yikes. Basic facts. Then we get messy. Cory Barker is the writer, director, and editor. One person, three jobs, a control divide move. The film premiered in 2025, got song buzz, and Focus Features picked it up for a US South release. Focus Features is a specialty distributor that handles classy indie and genre films. Outside the US South, Universal Pictures International, Universal's global arm, is on deck. The deal reportedly cleared over $15 million, which is not chump change for a debut horror. Jason Blum hopped on later as an executive producer in late 2025. He's the Blum in Blumhouse, a major horror company. That late arrival is a flex. It says, we see the heat, we're here to stoke it. Let's talk performances. Indy Navarrete as Nikki is the axis this whole thing spins on. She toggles between feral fixation and shattered lucidity like it's nothing. Critics are obsessed and sane. Michael Johnston as Bear grounds the guilt. He's not a villain, but he's not innocent either. He made the damn wish. And Andy Richter shows up as Carter, the music store boss and also Sarah's dad in the story. You know Andy from that late-night energy. Here he adds dry authority in a sea of messy 20-somethings. The whole ensemble sells the social stakes. Friends Ian and Sarah watch this relationship speedrun from flirt to fatal, and they're like, what the hell are we even seeing? Craft Corner, because form matters. Taylor Clemens, the cinematographer, frames people dead center with unnerving extra headroom, centered composition, too much sky, and suddenly everyone looks tiny in their own life. Divian Gray, the production designer, remade a Burbank house to be Bear's home, and they play it like a pressure cooker. One location, escalating dread. Rock Burwell does the score. The music and needle drop swing scenes from romance to menace so fast your stomach does a flip. And Barker's edit is surgical. He actually cut down a head-smashing moment by 6 or 7 hits to avoid an NC-17, which for studios is the adults-only rating they hate. Translation: still brutal, but just inside the line for theatrical reach. Now, tea time on the lore. The film never fully explains whether Nikki is possessed, replaced, or just supernaturally coerced. There's this hotline moment where they offer to connect Bear to the real Nikki, and all you hear is her screaming. That's nightmare fuel. Personally, I lean coercion. It fits the thesis. You try to rewrite someone to love you, you turn him into a jailer, and you become a prisoner too. Consent is gone, humanity is gone, and the only off-ramp is death. Romance becomes a kill switch, dark but coherent. The movie also plays with that monkey's paw trope. If you're new, the monkey's paw is a classic device where wishes come true with nasty twists. Barker literally cites it The Simpsons' monkey paw storyline as inspo. The Simpsons is the long-running animated sitcom that has, joked about everything under the sun. Here they channel that satirical energy into grounded horror. Critics have even lumped Obsession into what they're calling the Cregorification of 2020's horror. That's a vibe inspired by Zach Cregor, the filmmaker behind Barbarian and Weapons. Barbarian is a recent horror hit known for brutal shocks and weird humor. Weapons is another audacious shocker. The trend is outrageous turns, dark comedy, social sting. Obsession fits, but the sting is about desire ethics. Okay, let's move on to the moments that will live rent-free in your head. Ian, a friend, wishes for $1 billion with his own Willow, because of course he does, and cash literally rains from his ceiling. It's slapstick and terrifying. The toy does cartoon logic with real-world consequences. Another scene, at a party during drunk Jenga, Mickey tells this violent, incestuous spin on Hansel and Gretel. The room dies. That monologue is a thesis statement with a shot glass. Then she swaps seats to intercept Bear's dare kiss and make it hers. Possession is policing. And the domestic horror continues. She tapes the front door shut, refuses to sleep because she hates her dreams, and watches him sleep like he's a screen. Most disturbing, the film implies Nikki's authentic self is alive underneath. There are lucid flashes where she begs Bear to kill her while the other persona sleeps. There's even a brutal sequence where she tries to harm herself to force compliance or to escape the curse. It's not just scary, it's devastating, because you realize the wish didn't create love, it erased a person. And yes, it goes there with gruesome. One killing involves a brick and too many impacts, and later edits pulled it back from an NC-17. There's also this grotesque domestic transgression. Nikki makes Bear a sandwich using the remains of his dead cat, Sandy. I know, I so cannot. It's grief warped into contamination. And the hotline chirps through all this, "Hi, your terms and conditions include possible soul entrapment. Press 1 for real," Nikki screams. Honestly, iconic satire of corporate ease over human suffering. The endgame will wreck you. Bear, trying to end the wish per the hotline rule, chooses to die. Pills, not a gun, nearing earlier tragedy with his pet. While he's overdosing, Nikki uses her own Willow and wishes that Bear falls in love with her. He stumbles out blissed, kisses her, and then dies. The wish can layer, the body still loses. When he dies, she snaps back to herself, surveys the carnage, and screams. It's punchline from hell. A real moment of love appears. It's instantly too late. Industry gossip that matters. After the 2025 premiere, Focus bought it for big money. Universal's international arm is running point outside the States. Blumhouse Energy joined after the first teaser dropped in late 2025, which was an unusual but savvy PR blast. The US South release is set for mid-May 2026, and early projections are around $10 million for opening weekend. For an R-rated, edgy monkey's paw chiller from a debut feature director, that's a healthy temperature check. Why it matters beyond box office, Obsession makes consent the monster under the bed. We stan horror that drags real-life ethics into the light. Also, that hotline gad is the sharpest takedown of techified problem-solving I've seen since, a terms of service horror short. You can't app your way out of harming someone. You can return a toaster. You can't return a rewritten person. If I were Curry Barker for a day, first of all, congrats, sir. Second, the flex of translating a jokey Simpsons bit into grounded, crazy heartbreak horror, that's a tightrope. He nails the tone. And the choice to keep the rules a little vague, like, can multiple willows stack? How do conflicting wishes work? Gives us just enough to suffer with the characters, not enough to game the system. Smart. Sadistic, but smart. Before we go further, we need to address the big question everyone argues about: possessed, replaced, or coerced? I'm going to plant my flag on coerced. The hotlines talk of a real Mickey, the lucid pleas, the immobilization when Bear leaves like the curse has her geofenced. It screams puppet strings, not body snatcher. And that reading puts the moral on Bear's doorstep. He wanted a shortcut to love. He got a hostage situation. Be careful not just what you wish for, but who you rewrite in the process. Top culture connective tissue, The Simpsons homage is a chef's kiss for us TV kids who learned morality from cartoons and memes. And the film sits comfortably with the Barbarian school of horror, bold turns, dark laughs, and then a boot to the throat. It's risky, it's buzzy, and it says something. My hot take? If you hated the trend as try-hard in 2020 horror, this might convert you because the character work is doing the heavy lifting. If you loved it, yes, queen, this is dessert.
Okay, pause, because next week we're getting into another spooky tale that blurs reality and fiction, and I'm telling you now, you'll question your group chat, you'll question your mirrors, you'll question everything. Hey, sit with that for a sec. Need your food for thought, right? Keep your wishes in check and your tea hot. This was Emma Spills the Tea. Later.